that seemed to dust the air with sparks of burning gold. Also the great owls and other fowl that haunt the dark. These had come out in numbers from their hiding places among the ruins and sailed to and fro like white-winged spirits, now seen and now lost in the gloom. While I sat thus, many reflections came to me as to the extraordinary nature of my experiences during the past few days. Had any man ever known the like? I wondered. What could they mean and what could this marvellous woman Ayesha be? Was she perhaps a personification of nature itself, as indeed to some extent all women are? Was she human at all, or was she some spirit symbolizing a departed people, faith and civilization, and haunting the ruins where once she reigned as queen? No, the idea was ridiculous, since such beings do not exist, though it was impossible to doubt that she possessed powers beyond those of common humanity, as she possessed beauty and fascination greater than are given to any other woman. Of one thing I was certain, however, that the shades I had seemed to visit had their being in the circle of her own imagination and intelligence. There Umslopogaas was right. We had seen no dead, we had only seen pictures and images that she drew and fashioned. Why did she do this, I wondered? Perhaps to pretend to powers which she did not possess, perhaps out of sheer elfish mischief, or perhaps, as she asserted, just to teach us a lesson and to humble us in our own sight. Well, if so, she had succeeded, for never did I feel so crushed and humiliated as at that moment. I had seemed to descend, or ascend, into Hades, and there had only seen things that gave me little joy and did but serve to reopen old wounds. Then on awaking I had been bewitched, yes, fresh from those visions of the most dear dead, I had been bewitched by the overpowering magic of this woman's loveliness and charm, and made a fool of myself, only to be brought back to my senses by her triumphant mockery. Oh, I was humbled indeed, and yet the odd thing is that I could not feel angry with her, and what is more that, perhaps from vanity, I believed in her profession of friendship towards myself. Well, the upshot of it was that, like Umslopogaas, more than anything else in the world did I desire to depart from this haunted Kôr and to bury all its recollections in such activities as fortune might bring to me. And yet it was well to have seen it and to have plucked the flower of such marvellous experience, nor, as I knew even then, could I ever enter the memory of Ayesha the wise, the perfect in all loveliness and the half divine in power. When I awoke the next morning the sun was well up, and after I had taken a swim in the old bath and dressed myself, I went to see how it fared with Inez. I found her sitting at the door of her house looking extremely well and with a radiant face. She was engaged in making a chain of some small and beautiful blue flowers of the iris tribe, of which quantities grew about, that she threaded together upon stalks of dry grass. This chain, which was just finished, she threw over her head so that it hung down upon her white robe, for now she was dressed like an Arab woman, though without the veil. I watched her unseen for a little while, then came forward and spoke to her. She started at the sight of me and rose as though to run away, then, apparently reassured by my appearance, selected a particularly fine flower and offered it to me. I saw at once that she did not know me in the least and thought that she had never seen me before. In short, that her mind had gone, exactly as Ayesha had said that it would do. By way of making conversation I asked her if she felt well. She replied, "Oh yes," she had never felt better, then added, "Daddy has gone on a long journey and will not be back for weeks and weeks." An idea came to me and I answered, "Yes, Inez, but I am a friend of his and he has sent me to take you to a place where I hope that we shall find him. Only it is far away, so you also must make a long journey." She clapped her hands and answered, "Oh, that will be nice. I do so love travelling, especially to find Daddy, who, I expect, will have many proper clothes with him, not these which, although they are very comfortable and pretty, seem different to what I used to wear. You look very nice too, and I am sure that we shall be great friends, which I am glad of, for I have been rather lonely since my mother went to live with the saints in heaven, because you see Daddy is so busy and so often away that I do not see much of him." Upon my word, I could have wept when I heard her prattle on thus. It is so terrible unnatural, almost dreadful indeed, to listen to a full grown woman who talks in the accents and expresses the thoughts of a child. However, under all the circumstances I recognised that her calamity was merciful, and remembering that Ayesha had prophesied the recovery of her mind as well as its loss, and how great seemed to be her powers in these directions, I took such comfort as I could. Leaving her, I went to see the two Zulus, who had been wounded, and found to my joy that they were now quite well and fit to travel, for here too Ayesha's prophecy had proved good. The other men also were completely rested and anxious to be gone, like Umslopogaas and myself. While I was eating my breakfast, Hans announced the venerable Billali, who with a sweeping bow informed me that he had come to inquire when we should be ready to start, as he had received orders to see to all the necessary arrangements. I replied within an hour, and he departed in a hurry. But little after the appointed time he reappeared with a number of litters and their bearers, also with a bodyguard of 25 picked men, all of whom we recognised as brave fellows who had fought well in the battle. These men and the bearers old Billali harangued, telling them that they were to guide, carry and escort us to the other side of the great swamp, or further if we needed it, and that it was the word of She who commands that if so much as the smallest harm came to any one of us, even by accident, they should die every man of them, by the hot pot, whatever that might be, for I was not sure of the significance of this horror. For this see the book called She. Editor. Then he asked them if they understood. They replied with fervour that they understood perfectly, and would lead and guard us though we were their own mothers. As a matter of fact they did, and I think would have done so independently of Ayesha's command, since they looked upon Umslopogaas and myself almost as gods, and thought that we could destroy them all if we wished, as we had destroyed Rezu and his host. I asked Billali if he were not coming with us, to which he replied no, as She who commands had returned to her own place and he must follow her at once. I asked him again where her own place might be, to which he answered vaguely that it was everywhere, and he stared first at the heavens and then at the earth as though she inhabited most of them, adding that generally it was in the caves, though what he meant by that